In this lesson, I'm going to be going over the matrix. Now, the matrix is this scary looking grid section. You have all these different knobs and these different sliders. Now, let me just hopefully break this down to make it easier for you to understand. Now, this just indicates all of your modulations that are happening within your Serum preset or patch. Now, as you can see, there's nothing on there right now because this is just an initial preset. And what I like about Serum is that if you want to modulate anything, let's say I assign this LFO1 to the coarse tuning, we can see it moving up and down the LFO. We can see this there's a small little white dot that moves back and forth. We can see this blue thing. It's very visual. Don't really need to go into the matrix to see what is happening, but the matrix is here because there are some parameters that you cannot access down here at the bottom with the envelopes, LFOs, and velocity notes. There's some parameters that you can't access, but also it's just useful to see everything that's happening if you just need to check anything, and there's some other features that we can go into. So as you can see, I just dragged up this LFO1 to this coarse tuning, and you've got this bipolar amount at, what is the amount? Let's say around like 20. And let's see, we've got the amount in here 20. I just accidentally moved it a bit. So we've got the source that just pops up, the amount is there, 20, the coarse pitch, and we've got that bipolar amount. Now, to get it unipolar in the matrix, you just click on it. Now it's unipolar. Go back here. Now we see that it's only going one way, or I could just Shift Alt click on this section. Now it's going back to bipolar and see, you can see that it switched. I can also adjust the amount like this, and that increases it a lot. Now you can see it's increased there a lot. So you can control these parameters in this matrix section as well as in this oscillator section. Now there's also this curve that you can apply. So if I curve it downward, and let's reduce this amount a bit, you can hear that it slowly starts bending up and then all of a sudden shoots up to the high note. And then the opposite will be true. It quickly bends up to that note and then goes down, and it's just following this shape, but we're applying a bit of this curve to it. Now there's also these mod options. Now at the moment, there isn't anything happening. So what I can do is assign an aux source. I can click on these. All of these I can click on and assign them to different sources, destinations. Now I could choose a different aux source for this. So I could choose, let's say my mod wheel. This is the mod wheel on my keyboard. Let me play with this mod wheel. So I'm adjusting the mod wheel on my keyboard. I just raised up my mod wheel, and then it increased the amount of this LFO1 being applied to this coarse pitch. I could also do something like using these macro knobs, which is what I often do, is use one of these macro knobs, and now I can automate this very easily. And this is useful if you want to automate a bunch of parameters. Let's say I have this LFO1 turned on, and also maybe I have this LFO1 assigned to the level of oscillator B. Then I can go back into this matrix, assign this macro as well to this LFO1 to the B. And now I'm controlling two different parameters and adjusting them with this macro source. Now, if you need a bit more precision over the amount, you can play, let's take this one off. You can play around with this output because this adjusts the amount as well. Now for this macro aux source, there is the mod amount. So I could set it to inverse, which inverses the relation with this macro knob. So you see that now I have it turned all the way up, but the effect of the LFO is off. Versus now it's all the way down and you can hear it. So I'll put it back to this asterisk. And there we have it turned off. So that's what you can do is you can have this on inverse, or you can just bypass it. So you can see I'm adjusting that macro, nothing is happening. You also have another curve. I can adjust this curve, and let's go ahead and raise up this macro. And you can hear that the LFO, as it increases, this macro knob increases. You can hear some of that LFO, and it takes a bit of time for it to get to the full effect, versus if I curve it this way, it'll get to that LFO effect a lot quicker. Almost immediately. So you can adjust this curve, and this might be useful. Let's say if you have multiple parameters assigned to this macro knob, but you want some parameters to get to their max amount at a different speed than the others. So if I had this also assigned, like the level also assigned to the macro knob, but I want the level to get up there a lot faster than this pitch wobble. Then I could do something like that. So let's take this off, take off this aux source, put that curve back to 0. And also there's this output if you need some finer control over the amount, or just another way to control the amount, you can adjust this output. And let's take off oscillator B. And you can hear as I adjust that output, it's almost similar to adjusting this amount. And that's just like another control that you can use to make finer adjustments. There's also this click drop down menu where you can sort these by, let's see, source, I guess by destination. Maybe I need to add some more. Let's do LFO2 to something like the panning. Let's see if this does anything. All right, so that one adjusted the arrangement. So if you have a lot of modulations going on, a pretty complicated patch that you're using, and you need to rearrange them, organize them, then you can sort them. You can also lock it, create velocity to amp assignment. Let's try this. Oh, cool, that's cool. So now I have a velocity to amp, kind of like what I was talking about in the previous lesson. Let's go ahead and take all those off. So there's a quick way to add the velocity modulation across your whole Serum sounds. So if you have like oscillator B on there, maybe you have a sub on there as well. Now you have that velocity effect on all of your oscillators. There are destinations only available in Matrix that you can't find on the other section. You can't find it on this page. And that is, one of these is the amp, which I've gone over. And to get to these hidden destinations, I guess, we go to this global, and you've got the amp master tuning, Chaos 1, Chaos 2, and I will get into what these are in the next lesson. Master tuning is essentially changing and adjusting as I was doing this coarse tuning, playing around with this coarse tuning effect, but applying it to all of the oscillators if I don't want to take this LFO1, drag it to the coarse tuning of all of the oscillators. There's also not an option to coarse tune adjust the sub. So if I did want everything to be modulating in the same way, then I would have to go into this matrix and do it here. So let's say I do this LFO1 to the master tuning, and I'll raise this up. There's the sub. And oscillator A and oscillator B, and you can hear them all wobbling at the same rate. Now, sometimes this amount, I would say that this is a pretty coarse tuning amount. There isn't really like a fine tuning adjustment that you can make. But if you want to adjust the fine amount, what I found that you can do is adjust the output. And you get a bit of a finer control over this tuning. That is everything I wanted to go over on the Matrix. I will see you in the next lesson.